Hey guys, it's Klinger with Vital. I'm here with BJ Burns, and we are testing the WP A-Kit fork and shock, the cone valve system and the Trax shock on the Suzuki RM-Z450. A lot of people don't know that they make WP stuff for all the Japanese bikes, but they do, and we had the opportunity to test this out on this bike. So BJ, tell me a little bit about your riding style, your riding background, your experience.
BJ Burns, bigger guy, 240 pounds, so definitely got the Clydesdale class covered. But yeah, used to race professional quite a few years ago, but still do a little bit of racing now. Vet Pro class, like the race Mammoth, and represent the Cowie 450 right now, 2019 edition, and really liking that bike. But excited to test the RM-Z450 out here with the WP cone valve today.
So looking back at the shootout, there's a few things. I mean, Suzuki got last in our shootout. I think both of us put it personally last in our own personal rankings. Talk a little bit about how the stock bike felt to you.
So stock bike for me, a lot of people complain that the bike is super stiff. Me being a bigger guy, it's a stiff, rigid bike, but it wasn't terrible for me. I do enjoy riding the RM-Z. I wouldn't say that it's a huge disadvantage. It's a great fun bike. Definitely, if we had to focus on the negative, it is a harsh, rigid feel, suspension-wise. Excited to see what we could do with the WP stuff today to make it a little better.
Yeah, I think a lot of the complaints and the comments about the suspension on the stock bike were a little bit hard to track down, like a good balance, hard to figure out exactly how we wanted the fork set up, how we wanted the shock set up. I think there was a little bit of unpredictability with the stock bike. The suspension that we have here is set up for someone that's 200 pounds plus, a faster kind of pro setting, and for me, it's still definitely on the stiff side. I'm just your standard vet speed, but how did you like it as the almost more of a target audience for suspension?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Just going back to the stock one a little bit, I think you used the perfect word, was the unpredictability of it. I remember hitting a bump on the stock shock and had a feel that I didn't expect. So getting on this was hoping that we could eliminate that problem, be a little more predictable, a little more controlled. So right away, getting on the bike, we set the sag at 105. I still felt that the bike was maybe a little low in the rear, just riding to the track. Once I got on the track, that didn't affect me as much. Going right into it, as I got more comfortable picking up some speed, there's some good bumps out here today at Glen Helen, and especially coming off landings into the corner, like the jump behind me, going into the velodrome. Was worried about how the fork and the shock was going to react at that speed, going into a landing and then back up a hill into a high-speed corner. And I'll tell you what, the comfortability was there for me. The bike felt planted. It felt predictable, and as I increased my speed, I had no hesitation in hitting a bump or even coming down the hills. On the brake, when the suspension doesn't quite work as good on the brakes, I still was happy. I was still predictable feel. I do feel that going into the corners, the stock bike, I can really get the pivot out, like the in-out is really, really good on the stock bike. This bike, I think, kind of attributing to that lower rear end feel, I lost a little bit of that in and out characteristic that I had on the stock bike. Wouldn't say it's necessarily a disadvantage, just something that was a little bit different than the stock bike.
For me, riding it, I do like the suspension. The harder I pushed it, I noticed the better it works. Almost like that edge of my comfort zone, like I would go into a corner a little faster or hit the face of a jump a little faster than I normally would, and it worked better. Rather than trying to baby through everything and hit every little rough section of the track, I feel that's when it kind of jostled you and had a harsh feel. Would you say that this is something the average rider would want, or is this more of like pro, amateur racer kind of setup?
It's hard to say. I think that it's rider preference, really. I think if you're spending money on something, WP is obviously a quality product. So if you're looking for an upgrade, I do think that in this circumstance it was an upgrade. It's a quality product. It's obviously really, really cool looking with the coatings and everything like that. Hard to, talk down on their success because they've been very successful. So if I would buy it, I don't know. I don't know if I would spend the money on it, but definitely there's a guy that out there that it would benefit him and it would make the RM-Z450 a better bike.
Yeah, and I would say that to that point, it's almost, if you're a vet guy or a rider that's maybe set in your ways and you're not necessarily looking to improve, you're just looking to have fun, then maybe stock is best. But I feel like having this suspension on this bike makes me want to get better. It makes me want to ride to that next level because I start to feel what the suspension can handle. I start to feel what that next level could be, and it almost is like get faster. This is definitely something that can work in conjunction with getting better.
Yeah, I just wanted to say a couple things. There's some loyal RM-Z450 owners out there, and that's not a bad thing. That's a great bike. Might be a great time to update that RM-Z450 in your garage with some WP suspension. Definitely great fine-tuning ability. We did a couple clicker adjustments today, and I think we did 3 in the rear and 2 in the front, and that made a great difference for me. So I was super happy with the tunability of it. Really got the bike more comfortable for me in that small amount of time. So yeah, definitely those RM-Z450 guys looking for a change in their lineup, definitely something to look out into.
If you're on our YouTube channel, please click subscribe. If you're on vitalmx.com, check out our YouTube channel, and thanks for watching.